Hey everybody, welcome back to another Jackson Jetsetting full ship tour. Today I'm taking you on board the MSC Seascape. She's sailing from Galveston now for the foreseeable future, so there is a lot to see on board, and let's get started on deck 16 here at the MSC Yacht Club's lobby. This is basically a ship within a ship. It's an absolutely beautiful experience. If you've never experienced Yacht Club, it's a very reasonably priced for what it is option on board the MSC ships. You're not going to lift a finger the entire time. The service is absolutely incredible. They have this little mini atrium in here that spans the 3 decks that the Yacht Club encompasses at the front of the MSC Seascape. So you do have a nice lounge area here. It's a 2-story space, lets in a ton of natural light. You have the restaurant above that we'll tour in just a sec, but you do have a nice little area here to relax, have a drink, have some snacks. There's beautiful art, and they have piano and other performances in the evenings. It's just a very nice space. So you do have a backlit bar here with everything that you could possibly imagine. And then a small buffet inside here just with some finger foods, just something to enjoy in the lounge. It switches out throughout the day, might be more breakfast themed in the morning, and then they have desserts and little chips and things like that throughout the rest of the day. There is a small outdoor area here as well. They do have some smoking section here on that part, so it's kind of covered nicely from the wind if the ship is moving. So very nice space to hang out. Heading upstairs is going to be the Yacht Club restaurant. It's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Very intimate space. I've never had to wait for a table once in here, and it has a rotating menu every evening. But the big star of Yacht Club, in my opinion, is the top deck on deck 20. This is going to be your own private pool in Yacht Clubs just for Yacht Club guests. Kids are allowed in Yacht Club, so that's a very nice feature, and a lot of people kind of assume that kids aren't allowed, but they are actually allowed. It's great for families. That is within kind of their budget. You do have a buffet that's open for breakfast and lunch right next to the bar, so you have full bar service up here as well. All the lounges are first come, first serve. You do have some cabanas that are an extra cost unless you're in one of the top level suites on board. But of course you have towels and things like that, and constantly people are coming around trying to make sure your vacation is off to an amazing start. I've never seen every single sun lounger taken in a Yacht Club on my several MSC Yacht Club cruises. So there's just an amazing amount of space available here for everyone to just enjoy their time on board. And if you are in Yacht Club, it's very difficult to even want to leave this area, and many people do not leave the Yacht Club during their whole voyage. You have everything here. Your staterooms are over here as well. You do have a small smoking section out here as well. It's located right next to the tables, but it wasn't used during my sailing, so it did not bother me. You do have a small pool hot tub right here as well, all the way forward in the Yacht Club area, so a great spot to enjoy sail away from or just have nice views at sea or in port. Heading towards the rear of the Yacht Club experience, you do have a few hot tubs as well. So these overlook the top 19 area and the rest of the ship. So a nice little area to enjoy some relaxation here. One last look at the pool here at the Yacht Club before we make our way down to deck 19. Deck 19 is another area that's special to certain people on the ship. It's top 19 exclusive solarium, so this is a private deck experience that you can pay into, or if you have the Aria experience, I believe that is included in that package as well on board. So you have a few exclusive hot tubs, you have sun loungers and things like that, and it's very close to the Yacht Club, so very high up on the ship and really nice views. You can also see the top of the indoor pool here has a retractable roof. Haven't seen that in use, but it's theoretically possible. Top 19 does have its own exclusive bar, and it stretches on either side of the deck. So a nice little experience here. If you're not all the way in Yacht Club, you do have this available for you for an extra purchase if you need that sun time and make sure that you have a sun lounger during your vacation. Now, the MSC Seascape does have a number of different water slides available to guests. You have one that is a tube slide, so you have to climb up some stairs all the way up to deck 20 to enter some of these. And in the center is an open air atrium with all of the fun water activities for the kids, which is really awesome. Keeps things kind of enclosed a little bit. It's got a fun pirate theme and plenty of areas for the different age groups as well. You have a small splash pad for the youngest kids. You have a slightly shallower pool for maybe some of the slightly older toddlers that want to splash around a little bit more. And then you have this fun little adventure ropes course that doesn't require any harnesses or anything like that that you may have seen on other ships, but it's just a nice thing to do for the family. You have an open air water slide in here as well, so that's a little bit less intense for the younger kids. Maybe can't handle those tube slides. So as you can imagine, this is one of the most popular points of the MSC Seascape for the younger guests on board. And then I think the coolest water slides and the most intense ones are these two racing slides. So you climb all the way up to the top of deck 20 and then race your way down. So these are open throughout the day. They're open in port as well if you want to reduce some of those lines. Though I never saw the lines get too crazy during my time on board. There's a small sun lounger area. This is open to the entire ship here. And then if you make your way up the stairs, you're going to find two areas, the MSC Sports Arena and the Robotron. The MSC Sports Arena is going to be located at the same level of that ropes course that I mentioned earlier, and you can see where you enter some of the water slides a little higher up there. So a really fun experience for the whole family to enjoy. And then if you're wanting to get in some basketball during your vacation or pickleball, they have that going on the top deck here. It's nice they have this netted area so the balls don't go flying all over the ship or overboard. They even have some stadium seating for those that don't want to participate but want to still watch right there. And then there's the Robotron, which is an extra charge experience. It's $12, and it's a Kuka arm that 3 people can ride at a time. It's the same technology that's actually mixing drinks on board Royal Caribbean ships, and then you can actually ride these too on board some of the Harry Potter rides and the Universal Studios theme parks. But a very intense ride profile you could select. Basically, you can choose, and it's got great views at the very top level of the ship. Right beneath that is the Horizon Bar, so this is a nice little space to enjoy some high up views of the main pool deck here on the MSC Seascape. So obviously this is a very popular area for most guests. This is where you're going to see a lot of pool action, though I think the most impressive pool is yet to come in this video. So keep watching. And if you are someone who loves cruise content and you have not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. It really helps out the channel. And at least like this video. It takes me a lot of effort to make these cruise ship tours and bring them to you, and I appreciate everyone watching. Making our way to the stern of the ship, you can see the Jumbotron here overlooking the pool. So they'll play sports games, they'll play different movies throughout the day and evening, which is nice. So you have full sound here. You can watch some movies underneath the stars, very popular activity on board. One deck lower, you do have a small bar that has great ocean views. But the most popular attraction in this section of the ship is going to be the Bridge of Sighs. So this is a incredibly intense walking bridge that has clear acrylic windows that look straight down. It's going to be located in the back next to the outdoor buffet seating. We're going to explore that area in just a bit when we get to it. Just wanted to show you a little preview of what's to come. You have a pool bar right here, as well as soft serve ice cream that's included in your cruise. And that leads to the lower level of the kids pool, Pirates Cove, that I showed you a little earlier. We can see the littlest of the water slides on board, perfect for those smaller kids that are not quite tall enough for the bigger slides on board, as well as the exit for the tube slide right here. So very fun experience for everyone of all different ages. Love the splash zones though, and how well themed this area really is. Another area fun for the kids and the young at heart, like myself, is the Hall of Games, which is a very impressive arcade on board. I was really blown away by how many games they have, a lot of them giving out tickets, and you can turn them in for prizes from an automated vending machine. They have pinball. And then they have a few extra charge attractions that are open throughout the day, and they're pretty impressive. You have the F1 simulator, which is on board a number of different MSC ships. They're a big sponsor of F1. If you are a Diamond member on board and you've done one of the status matches that MSC is offering right now, you actually get an F1 experience once per cruise for free. So I do take advantage of that each time I'm on board. They do have an interactive XD cinema. So it's a 4D experience that you actually have some guns that you interact with the movie that you're watching, and your seats move, wind happens. It's very, very fun. A lot more intense than I expected. And this area is going to be next to the teen club on board. They always put the arcades really close to the older kids clubs on these cruise ships. I think that's very smart because they're going to be your target audience on board. But a pretty nice space to hang out. You have some ping pong indoors, you have video games and things like that. And then the younger kids are going to be in Do Re Mi Land. So they have this nice little sun mascot that does walk around sometimes on the MSC ships, and they do have a partnership with Lego. So a lot of Legos in here for the younger kids. You have a small lobby, and you head to the right here, and they've divided these areas up into 3 different age groups. So the older kids have some foosball, a little bit more natural light going on. You have some slot car racing, of course, a couple of different video games, making sure that kids are always entertained. So yeah, you have some Nintendo Switches here. And then the younger kids are going to have a little bit more tactile play. They have a lot of, smaller push around type experiences, a little soft area to jump and play on here too, some napping facilities as well, a little stroller. And then they actually have a little outdoor area next to the water slide exit that I showed you a little bit earlier. So a fun outdoor area just for the little kids. And then the middle group does have some activities sponsored by Lego here. So a lot of fun. I think that these kids' areas are well designed. They are a little small, I would say, compared to some others that I've seen on other ships, but plenty of activities for the kids to keep them entertained while the adults go and enjoy the ship as well. The Jungle Lounge pool is going to be the indoor pool here, 2-story area. On the top floor, they are going to have a number of different foosball, ping pong, pool even. You do rent a lot of the equipment for certain games like shuffleboard, and that is an extra charge, and it's a timed activity. Wish that was free, but I do understand why they do it. Sometimes the shuffleboard, the table shuffleboard, can get a little abused, and so I do understand that they have to keep things looking nice with so many people on board. There's a nice waterfall when it's working here in this area on the main pool deck. And then the pool does exist underneath this beautiful atrium, lets in a lot of natural light. Again, they can't open this up if the weather is nice enough, but I feel like they usually keep it a little bit closed. It does keep things a little humid in here, but people might like that. Do like the theme though. It does fit the humidity and all of the greenery that they have not really planted, but placed here. And then they do have a bar. They have some gelato for sale in this area as well. Gelato all through the ship. So if you're a fan of gelato, you're going to love MSC. But this is connected to the main buffet. They have tons and tons of different stalls of food. You can look to my reviews of the ship for some of the looks of the actual food itself, but a very nice experience here. It does get quite busy. It's one of the main free options available to people, and it's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I'd avoid the breakfast times, the main rush, get there a little early or right before it closes to avoid a lot of what you see in this video, which were people that were quite excited to go eat, and I totally understand. They do have a small kids area as well. And then you have one of the best things about an MSC cruise, which is the pizza on board. They do have waters, coffees, and teas, and some limited fruit juices available for free here. If you want the specialty coffees, one thing I love about MSC as an espresso lover is that there's espresso machines at every single bar pretty much. So you can always find that fresh espresso on board, and it's pretty reasonably priced. So as we make our way towards the back, you can see that there is an outdoor area to dine. There's a small bar here as well. This is a very popular spot even if you're not coming to the buffet area itself. And this leads directly to the Bridge of Sighs that I mentioned earlier. So now we'll show you what that experience looks like. So all the way towards the back of the ship, overlooking the infinity pool, mini decks down. It's very, very fun. And I saw lots of people taking photos throughout the cruise here, but a pretty nerve-wracking experience if you're afraid of heights. So just keep that in mind. You do get a pretty nice view from the glass elevators here all the way at the back of the ship. I feel like these are a hidden secret on the MSC Seascape. Not a lot of people know that that'll take you all the way down to deck 8, which is where we're going to continue our tour. So the decks in between where we just were in deck 8 are all staterooms. So a lot of staterooms, pretty high ship, all the way 20 decks, and we're already here on deck 8. So the infinity pool, a very popular spot. This is adults only. It's an incredibly popular spot for photos, of course, and these lounge chairs do go very quickly. So if you're someone who absolutely needs to be staring at an infinity pool on your cruise, this is definitely a spot you want to get to early. You do have some gelato around here, and of course you have waiters circling around throughout the day to bring you any sort of cocktail that you might desire. I do want to jump all the way forward on deck 8 though and begin our tour of the indoor portions of this deck. This is going to be where the Aria Spa is. You have a barber shop, which is pretty cool. Nice little wood interiors here. You, of course, have a full gym and spa facility on board, as well as the thermal suites. The thermal suites are available to status holders for an hour each cruise, as well as Yacht Club and I think Aria members as well for an hour. You do have a gigantic gym here. I think this is one of the most impressive gyms that I've seen at sea. I know some of the Icon ships that I've toured look pretty incredible as well, but a lot of space for a lot of people on the ship looking to stay fit during their voyage. You have some included fitness classes here as well, and then also extra charge fitness classes. You can get personal training on board from everyone. And you have a lot of natural light coming in from the promenade that encircles deck 8. So we'll show you a little shot from there in just a bit. You have a little cycle studio here that can double as some yoga space. So for those that have the motivation to stay fit on their voyage on board the MSC Seascape, I think you're going to be well taken care of here. Some free weights as well. But now let's go explore a little bit of the shopping available in this area. You have the spa boutique, so you can get any sort of facial creams and things like that here. And they even have a small gym shopping area as well. So if you forgot any of your exercise clothes at home, they may be able to take care of you here. They have a nail salon as well as a hair salon available on board. So of course, you're going to have lots of different treatments available for those that want to be pampered on vacation. You have massage rooms that leads into the thermal area. So this area is really great. I think that MSC knocked this out of the park. I know they're quite popular in Europe, and this being a European company, I think they know how to design this space. Wet saunas, dry saunas, you have different showers with different temperatures that you can do a little mini cold plunge. But I think the most unique experience here is the snow room. I've seen these in a few spas. I actually jumped in there and wanted to try it out, and it was absolutely freezing. And then outdoors, you have your own private jacuzzi as well, and some sun loungers too. So that's really helpful for, if you're looking for a little bit more of a bespoke experience on board, but don't want to pay all the way up to Aria or Yacht Club. Right nearby is the ship's conference center, and that leads us to Liberty Square, which is going to be a multi-deck mini atrium, I would call it. So you have a number of different shopping and dining experiences in this area. Very cool New York theme. It's going to be pretty loud in this area because the casino is on one of the middle decks that we'll show you in just a bit. You have a Times Square area with some fun LED screens, and this is a small stage that features music throughout the day and into the late evenings. You have the sports bar, and I think these sports bars are really impressive for a number of different reasons. You have these small pods that you can watch your game and have a private experience with just your family or friends. Fits a few different people, different sized groups. You have actually casino games in this area, which I think is a very smart idea on their part. Then you have a large bar serving all sorts of beers on tap, different cocktails, of course. And then they have a large jumbotron at the very end of the bar showing the main game or experience going on. At that time, I've watched the Masters in here. I was watching football on my weekend cruise, so very fun spot just to hang out and lots of fun little knickknacks on the wall, making things nice and entertaining. Very boisterous, very loud area in here, so a lot of fun. Across the way is the Loft Cafe, and this is a completely different experience. They do offer some breakfast in here in the morning, so this is kind of a secret that not a lot of the ship is going to understand and find during their voyage, so go in here if you're looking for a less crazy experience for breakfast. But they have a coffee bar, they have cocktails, and live entertainment in the evenings on their stage. So this is a cool spot, kind of like a jazzy type club, and they do have some outdoor seating on the promenade there as well. Outside of these two bars I just featured are going to be a number of different shopping experiences. So MSC does have a lot of shopping on board, but it's not just one main area like many cruise ships. They have different shops and boutiques throughout the ship, which I think is pretty fun. Makes it feel more like a luxury mall, and I say that in a good way. But FE, being a very big retailer on board cruise ships nowadays, does have an experience here. You have the MSC Excursions desk right near the main atrium on this deck, as well as the main MSC logo store. And we do have an art gallery on board, so you can make some purchases of fun art if you are so inclined. And then the main atrium for the ship, a 4-deck atrium. You have these big jumbo screens here, and when they do events here, they have people stationed on each deck dancing, singing. So you never really know what deck people are going to be mainly featured on. I think this is a very cool experience on board the MSC Seascape. You have the shopping desk around this area as well. And then we have our first specialty dining experience that we're going to detail here, Hola Tacos and Cantina. So I really like this restaurant. I love Mexican food, and I think they really do a great job with Mexican food on board. They have great margaritas as well. You have some sunshine coming in at the main seating area, so you can grab some tacos. It's open for lunch and dinner. So this is a fun spot. I always like to come here at least once during my voyage. Outside on this deck too, you do have a number of different jacuzzis and pools. And so this is a fun area. It does get a little busy at certain times, but if you want that infinity pool experience, definitely check that out. A little further back on the deck though, you do have the wine cellar. This is where they're going to do special tastings and things like that. I've never really seen this open for just glasses of wine, but I imagine that they do offer that at certain times. But they have a nice cellar on display, which is pretty fun. And right next to that is going to be Butcher's Cut, which is the ship's steakhouse. So I've eaten here on a number of different MSC ships. Very fun experience. If you're looking for that delicious steak, they absolutely deliver here. It's one of the largest specialty restaurants on board. They have a dry age rack as well, so you can see what's going on there as you make your way to the table. And just beyond that is the Uptown Lounge. This is where you're going to have a lot of different dueling piano experiences on board. This is a very fun bar late at night. Gets quite busy in here. This is where you're going to find a lot of the evening entertainment, where I end up gravitating, I think, on a lot of my MSC voyages. And of course, there is a bar in the back serving all sorts of drinks and cocktails that you can enjoy with all the entertainment. Nearby, too, a number of different specialty restaurants. So this is kind of like this specialty restaurant row, I would say. In between all this is a cocktail bar. So this is where you're going to find the fanciest cocktails on board. I think that they do a great job here. I always like to stop by at least once on my voyages, maybe twice. You have a little lounge area here to enjoy those cocktails and that is right next to Kaito Teppanyaki. So they do have a teppanyaki experience on board for an extra charge. They actually serve Japanese Wagyu beef here, and it's absolutely delicious. I've gotten to try it several times. I do recommend this experience. It's very similar to Benihana, but I really think that the quality of everything here is one of my favorite teppanyaki experiences that I've experienced on any cruise ship. So definitely recommend that if that is something that your family enjoys. Right next to that is a sushi bar experience, which is one of these little revolving dish restaurants, and you just pay per dish. A very cool experience. I absolutely think this is one of the coolest things on the MSC Seascape. And then next to that is the Ocean Key restaurant. Ocean Key is MSC's private island, so they named their seafood restaurant after that. Very delicious experience though. You have a nice fine dining experience to enjoy all that lobster and fish. Directly beneath this area on deck 7 are going to be a few of the main dining rooms for the ship. So I do like how they break up the dining rooms to make them feel a little bit more intimate on board. The Aegean restaurant is the first one, so a nice blue hue in here. And this is a cool area of the ship because you do have probably the most Instagrammable areas available to guests right next to the Aegean restaurant. And it's this small hallway that has these reflective sort of geoscopic walls, for lack of a better term. But it's really pretty as you walk through. Very trippy, very disorienting, and it's just a very fun place to take a photo or video. As you make your way outside of the tunnel, you do find another area for a fun photo. It's this little LED screen with a hot air balloon, so a lot of people take photos in here as well. The Skyline restaurant is another main dining experience, so this is more themed to like a big city. And then right next to that is going to be Le Cabaret Rouge, and this is going to be another nightlife destination on board. It's going to be multi-purpose. They have a fun variety act in the evenings, so maybe every 10 minutes or so you have a new act coming on stage, which is really fun. Maybe you're not into one act, they're going to be off stage quickly, and then it might be your next big favorite right there. Just keeps things nice and fresh and inviting. You have a big bar here as well, serving drinks, and during the day there's some nice views aft of the wake. Making our way a little bit more forward on this deck is the champagne bar. So this is going to be located right next to the main atrium on this section of the ship. I like this area because there's just some nice natural light bleeding through, and then you do have the main atrium right here as well. You also have the sunglasses shop nearby. It's just a nice area to find people enjoying the MSC Seascape. And then it's going to be located right next to the signature casino. So a pretty large casino on board. You're going to have all sorts of slot machines available. You have a nice little sculpture going through the atrium here. This is nearby the Liberty Square that we walked through a little bit earlier on deck 8. But yeah, lots of slot machines on this side, and then you have a casino bar in the middle. and that'll serve you all sorts of cocktails. No free cocktails while you're gambling. You do reach certain levels, I believe, and they give you some free drinks while you're playing. Then you have some table games, some blackjack, craps, things like that available as well. We're on the middle part of the Times Square section and stage here, and that leads to the main theater on the MSC Seascape. So it's going to be 2 decks, large. It fits a lot of folks in this, but very easy to enter and exit from because it's just one entrance and exit. Some ships kind of have multiple decks and things like that. Not so on the MSC Seascape. Down on deck 6, there are going to be more public areas on board. So this is the lower level of the Times Square area. So lots of seating for watching any shows going on. You're going to have a lot more shopping in this section as well. So you're going to have a watch shop, you're going to have a perfume shop, different duty-free areas as well. So if you've been in a lot of the duty-free shops in the airports and things like that, it's going to be similar items to that. But I think the coolest section here is the Vinci chocolate. They have some chocolate sculptures that the crew have created here. Doubles as a chocolate bar. You can buy some chocolates by the piece, and a coffee bar as well. So a nice spot to grab that morning coffee, maybe be tempted by some of the deliciousness that's been made. You do have a purse shop as well. So a lot of fun little areas here to peruse on those sea days when the shops are open. Near the main atrium, you have another shore excursion desk available right here. So this is going to be the main point of contact for shore excursions. And the Shine Bar, which is going to be very similar to many of the other atrium bars that we've seen on our tour. And then you have 2 more restaurants for main dining. You have the Cala Jondal restaurant and the Green Wave restaurant. So both identical venues, similar experiences. So just really depends on your style. You get assigned to them. You don't get to choose which restaurant you dine in, though they are going to be open for different meals other than dinner, and so one may be available for you to check out. You have the next cruise desk for booking that next voyage here on the lowest level of our tour. So deck 5 is going to feature that Seascape bar at the very bottom of the atrium, a good spot for watching any entertainment on the main stage. And then you're also going to have guest services available that frequently has a line on board. So try and get those things handled maybe at off hours. This area is open 24/7. There's a small hallway with the photos from your voyage that you can purchase, and that leads to this MSC Foundation area. So this is a fun area for just raising some money to help the oceans out, and it's at the very bottom of the very beautiful sculpture with some fun little fish here. But that basically does it for the tour. Deck 4 is where you'll find the medical center and where you typically exit the ship. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.